Maintenance Advisory Board. Absent, we have Matilda Speck and Ken Dotson, and everybody else is here. Minutes from the January 14th meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda? I would like to make a motion to add to the agenda a review of the amended miscellaneous ordinance that was just passed by the Board of Aldermen, just so that we kind of all understand. I know y'all received a copy by email. Did everybody get a copy? Just to make sure we understand that change, and just thought we would maybe just spend just a minute or two on that. So I make a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Do you want to start? You might as well start. We can add that one to the last.
Okay, we'll start with the 1148 Byrdstown Highway, and at this time, this appears to be in compliance. The vehicles and the boats have been removed from the roadside.
Is there a motion that this is now in compliance and we can remove this from our following agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion about this? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
And item number 2 is 512 Hood Street. It is also in compliance.
Yeah.
That's where it was under the slum ordinance. They tore the house down. They had been having some trouble getting it removed because of the fire ban. They wound up taking equipment in there and just removing it instead of burning it. So it's all completely gone at this time.
Is there a motion that this is now in compliance and we can remove it from our agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion about this property? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thanks, Christian.
On this one is item number 3. It's 80815 Water Street. On this property, it probably needs to be removed from the agenda. We have a standing court order that this house is condemned for, it cannot be used as to be habitable space until it is brought up to the building codes. So we have a standing court order on here, and I don't know. I think we left it on last time. Not sure why, but all the paperwork is in order, and everything's been sent to the owners. And they are planning on fixing this house. So I don't know if y'all want to leave it on or what you want to do with it. But
I'm unsure really. So what you're saying is that it was condemned.
we had a hearing.
Right.
And the house is condemned for you can't live in the house, rent the house.
And there's a sign up that says
Well,
that, right?
there will be.
Okay.
We just got the paperwork mailed out last week. So we
Okay.
wanted to make sure that they had that in their hand before I went and put the sign on their door. So.
Okay, and so then if that sign goes up, then they want to rehab this house.
Which they do. They do want to rehab it. It may take them a little while to rehab it, which they have a few months to get it done. But we do have a standing court order that nothing can happen to this house until it is fixed.
And there's no other scheduled hearing for this, and
No.
there's no timeline on anything at all?
Well, it just in our codes, they have 6 months to get started on what they're doing.
Okay, and
on the building
after
codes.
the end of the 6 months, if they've done nothing,
If they've done nothing, then then that house will be eligible to be removed.
okay. Did you want to say something, Ray? Were you ready to say something?
Yes, whether to keep it on the agenda or not is the thing. Obviously, we want to, rather than having it on the agenda, could you just report to us in 2 months whether there's been any progress or not?
Yes,
And then after 6 months, we may be back to
Yes, okay.
decide that it needs to be demolished. Okay.
that works for me.
So you keep up with it?
Yes.
Anyway, so you can report back to us before that 6 months period is up or somewhere around, anywhere along the line, like Ray said, and let us know. We don't have to keep following it every meeting, but we would just need to be updated on
Okay.
that. So I guess we would need a motion to remove it from the following agenda. What do you think, y'all? I guess the motion really just applies if we're going to remove it completely and it's in compliance. So I guess we could just,
I mean, yeah, it's definitely, it's not in compliance with our code, but we went through the process of having the hearing, which is what our code asked us, that's what we were supposed to do. So, all that process has been followed. The hearing, found it to be out of compliance and, with the slum ordinance. And so that's where we're at, so.
so we don't really need to say it's now in compliance. We don't need a
It's-
motion because
it's
it's not
not
in
in-
compliance. Okay.
So now will this start their 60-day, well, they already started that hearing, but then what is the process after that? 'Cause it's-
I think what he's saying is that they have 6 months now that they had their hearing. They have 6 months to repair it. And at the end of 6 months, if it's not repaired, then it can go through the process of being torn down, right?
Right.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
So item number 4 is 220 East Henson. We also have a court order on this house that has been filed. They went through the process as well. So what I'm doing with these folks, this house is in compliance this time. Okay, it was the one, they didn't have running water, they didn't have heat, not proper electrical and all that. So they got the house in compliance. But we wanted to do a monthly, which I'm doing, and it was written in the court order that we're doing a monthly checkup just to make sure that it stays where it's at. And so this could probably be also removed from your agenda, I would think.
So you have now found it to be in compliance with the slum clearance?
Yes. It was the specialty case where
Right.
we removed from the
Right, I remember
house, and
that.
so.
I
yeah.
remember that. Is there a motion that this property is now in compliance and can be removed from our agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Ray has a second. Is there any discussion about this property? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that's all that you have for us? You might want to just hang out there for a minute and let's look at this miscellaneous ordinance too. I think, and you can correct me on this, that the main reason we did this amendment to the ordinance is because we needed more clarification of words such as debris, trash, junk, and rubbish, because people vary on what they interpret that to be. So basically, the only real change is in where it says overgrown and dirty lots, which is on the first page, section 2. And it says, for purposes of this section, debris, trash, junk, and/or rubbish shall include discarded, damaged, broken, or inoperable items left outdoors, and visible on the premises, including but not limited to rusted automobile and/or mechanical parts, machine parts, furniture, mattresses, tires, barrels, appliances, televisions, and/or other electronics, construction and deconstruction materials, household goods, and articles of clothing. So hopefully, we covered a lot with that amendment that will make it easier for Christian to do his job of determining what's out of compliance with this ordinance. And does anybody have any questions about this or any thoughts on this ordinance? I think we presently don't have anything that's under the miscellaneous ordinance that what we feel is that anything that was under the miscellaneous ordinance before this amendment is now got to be basically started over because now we have clarification of this. Is that right?
That is correct. Anything that was on our old miscellaneous ordinance would have had to be off of our agenda and redone if necessary.
Okay. Any discussion about that? Anybody have any thoughts or questions or anything about it? Okay, do you have any other thoughts on that, Christian?
No, I think that pretty well clarifies it.
Okay. Then, let's see, our next meeting will be Tuesday, March 10th at 5:30, right here. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
I have a qualifying petition for Alderman